In the self-love journey, we've seen that a very important part of self-love is knowing ourselves, understanding ourselves. And so who are we? This is the fundamental question that each one of us need to ask ourselves. It's also the fundamental question that the scriptures help us to figure out. And on a very basic level, Puja Gurudev created this teaching tool, which we refer to as the BMI chart. We are bodies, and with the bodies we experience the world outside. With our eyes we see, with our tongue we taste, with our ears we hear, and so we are these bodies that are receiving all this information from the world outside and then interacting with the world outside. We are a mind which feels emotions, and that might be a bit more technical in terms of Vedanta. Maybe in the Western world you would just think it of as we are feeling beings. Our heart has so many different emotions. And then we are intelligent beings, wanting to learn, wanting to understand, wanting to figure out, wanting to use this knowledge to be able to be effective, efficient, resourceful, profound, wanting to be useful, wanting to have purpose. All of that is intellect. Right? And it's a deeper layer, right? Our body is probably the first layer, the outermost layer, and it's just looking after ourselves physically. And then when we go a bit deeper in, it's all those feelings. We want things, and we like things, and we don't like things, and we insecure, or we appreciative like we were yesterday, and we angry at injustices, and we nervous about potential failures or rejections. And so much, this world of emotion is so much, and the world of emotion is such entertainment. And really, if we see all the movies, movies are just helping us explore all the different emotions and the impact that they have on our lives. And we watch, the movies that grab our attention is the ones that can make us feel what the hero or heroine in the movie is feeling. Our protagonist, to use correct writing technological words. So feelings are deeper than the body, and then that sense of purpose and the sense of justice and the sense of everything in the world making sense, that's an even deeper layer of our personality, our intellect. And these three layers we visit often enough, even throughout one day. And then there's an even deeper layer of our personality, which seems quite hidden unless we really look for it. And often when death happens, it propels us to think, well, where did they go? Do they still exist? Then all religions of the world, every single one, even ancient cultures and island cultures, agree that we continue to exist. And so in what form do we continue to exist? And which part of us is that continues to exist? And there might be atheists who say, no, this is it. When we die, that's it. There's nothing more. We don't continue to exist. But they don't really know that. Nor do we know we do exist. And even though there's lots of reasonings that both camps come up with to prove their point, essentially each one of us have to decide what it is we believe in, and then realize essentially that it's a belief. If I think we don't exist after death, that's a belief. If I think we do exist after death, that's a belief. And even those who don't think we do exist after death we want to continue to exist. That's also fascinating and interesting. So, if we do believe we continue to exist, which part of us is that? But take away that because we don't know and we can't validate what happens after death. There's so much of us that we aren't aware of. If you think about the average person sleeping 8 hours a day and then in dream and in deep sleep, we have no idea what's happening at the level of the mind. Where do we go and what exactly is that realm that we fully experience, even if we may not have too many memories about it? And so, what happens after death? But also what happens in between when we fast asleep is gaps in our understanding of who we are. In Vedanta, it is explained that this core of our being, our spiritual layer, is not only the deepest, but also the biggest. And so often we think, even if we are spiritual, that we are these bodies and we have this little bit of divinity in us. But Vedanta explains that actually we are incredibly divine. And that's the bigger personality. And all the rest of us are fitting into that. The example that is given is that divinity is like the ocean, and each one of us is a wave. And what's one wave when you think of the entirety of the ocean? I mean, even just in terms of what we can see with our vision when we're looking, one wave is so small in that whole big picture of the ocean that we are seeing. But we know that the ocean is so much more than what we are seeing. And so then, what's this one little wave? In the same way, this one life that we live in the vastness of all of time. Time has existed for so long before we were born and so long after we die. And then there's just this one bit of life that we are experiencing between birth and death, which we feel is long and significant. But actually, if you zoom out and see all of time, then it's almost nothing. And Swami Vivekananda Ji describes it as a party happening at night in an open hall area that is lit up, and a bird flying through from one end, and it's in darkness for so long, and then it's in this light for a few seconds and back into the darkness as it flies out again into the night. And this lifetime is just like that, so short, so fleeting. In the vastness of time, in the vastness of space, in the vastness of existence. And am I just this one small experience? Vedanta says not. We are far, far, far bigger than this body. We are far, far bigger than this life. This personality of ours that we have been focusing on in order to love ourselves better and to have a healthier outlook, and so much effort, and it's just this life, and there's something so much bigger, and that can be quite daunting in a way, but also quite freeing in a way. And when I know that there's so much more than, and I'm looking at the bigger picture, then I don't overthink the small stuff and I let go of all the pettiness. And so in our thinking, in terms of getting to know ourselves, if we zoom out, sure, I'm this body, sure, I'm this personality, but there's something deeper in me that existed before, that exists after. That is completely pure, no matter what I do this lifetime. To continuously think about that. There's something in me that can't be touched by my anger, my irritation, my insecurities, my jealousies, my pettiness, my regrets, my guilt, there's something in me that just stays pure, stays divine. It's there, it's part of me. It makes me me as much as everything else makes me me. And when we think it makes me me, we start to maybe notice it more, give it importance more. We spoke earlier about having a negative bias in our thinking when we were talking about the inner critic. We definitely also have a bias in the way we think about ourselves in terms of the layers of our personality. Some of us have a bias and think about ourselves as physical beings and then are extremely health conscious or vain, whichever one. And some of us have a bias towards being highly emotional and then maybe very sensitive. And some of us are highly intellectual and then maybe insensitive. And so today's topic is, in terms of our personality layers, where's your bias? Which one are you focusing on? And since many of us don't focus on the spiritual, today is also to find in what ways do I connect with my spiritual layer? Do I see it? Do I recognize it? Even if we believe that this life is this life and nothing exists after, there's still a spiritual layer. It's that part of us that makes us want to be good, makes us want to give, a part of us that can potentially love unconditionally, even if it's just for a few moments. And a part of us that bows down to higher intelligences and feels overwhelmingly humbled by how much more there is to this universe than me and what I want and what I feel. And so, where's your bias? And how are you connecting to your spiritual layer? And if you haven't completely understood what your spiritual layer is, then today's task is also for you to understand it a bit better. To summarize what the Upanishads say is, a spiritual layer is where we find oneness with all beings and things in creation. That might seem, how do I feel that? I don't even think it. I don't feel it. Then our spiritual layer is the acknowledgement that I did not create the vastness of this universe, that there's something higher than me that created and holds all of it together, and I'm just here enjoying the bit that I am here to enjoy. And then our spiritual layer is wanting to find ourselves, wanting to find truth, wanting to find how we can make a difference. How do you identify with your spiritual layer? How well have you understood it? Time to understand it better and connect deeper.